Hey there, guys. I see that many of you are interested in my previous loss, and now you probably came in and immediately noticed the balance. Yes, he was definitely trading there. Everything was fine for him again for an hour. He won back this minus. Not today. Not this time. Let me show you how everything happened next. After this minus, I tried to quickly beat it back after the video. As a result, I got a minus again. She again gave me an incomprehensible movement. I got out of there completely. The next day, look at another minus, which I also did not continue in the evening. So then, I had one win while sitting with everyone on the stream, and I opened one trade. Yeah, I'm still in the red. What did you want to see now? Winning trades. Not many people will brag about their losses. Well, that's how it turned out for me. I've never encountered a market like this before. This is also new for me. Well, I mean, it's a new experience dealing with such movements. And I couldn't handle it, that's true. What am I going to do next? Of course, today is OTC, a day off. I doubt I'll be trying to recover that loss. Let's see what happens next week with the normal market. Perhaps there are higher amounts there. During the week, I will return this minus to mine today, right now. I'm looking for some situation with Tai C and returning everything to the standard. For example, a situation D has caught my attention right now, and I'm immediately interested in checking out the higher time frames to see that the minimum has already been updated, the buyer hasn't shown much strength, and logically, right now, most likely, we're going to break through this minimum soon, so I'm going to make an entry here for a solid 4 minutes on the strong side for a downward move. Everything is by the book, the amount for the follow-up, I'll go back to M15. The only thing I would like to point out, for myself of course. Stop. So, we don't need this thing. I'm going to take this thing. I'll try to mark it for myself like this. I'm also curious to see what's down there. I'll mark it for myself until the next stop. It will be located in this area. That will be enough. So we have these two stops. Let's do this. Purely based on logic, look, there's a good trending move down. I'm going to draw a zone here. That was the first approach in a long time. I don't even know how to do this, right? Here's the area. The first approach in a long time happened here. With this big candle, the buyer is showing themselves green, is trying to go higher. They're buying it up. They're going down again. So they're not letting the buyer go higher. We're going with the trend. And what are we doing with the trend? We're updating our lows. So now we're going to update our low. Could a buyer appear after this low is taken out? Some kind of buyer. Of course, some kind of buyer can appear. There's some pullback on the BRA movement. It can be taken into account. But overall, everything points to the price breaking. This low and creating a new low. Basically, that's the whole analysis. There's no need to guess anything more here. It's all logical. Overall, there's about 50 minutes left until the end. We're waiting. I'm getting closed out with a loss here, so I'm using the next 4 minutes to chase it. And the expectations going forward aren't as simple as everyone would like. We'll add 1750 here and open it already. The second add-on for this trade, so 3 seconds until 1, maybe you'll give it thanks. The first one somehow still gets filled. 4 points. Polya got lucky. We're expecting the next 2 minutes, so there are 27 seconds left until the end. I think it will give a plus. It's following the logic. I understand that many people are skeptical about OTC. Yeah, and I still haven't figured out how I feel about it, but I apply what I use in the real market, and it seems like it follows this logic. Yeah, I have a little experience. This logic can be understood. Yeah, I have a little experience. Analysis in the OTC. From these 15 videos, I'm still drawing a conclusion, because TICE is logical, but the movements attempted are very abrupt. But I'll tell you, this is actually better than what's happening with this nonsense right now. So, sometimes it's okay to take a few shots at these during the weekends. It aligns with the logic. It really does. We updated the minimum, got a pullback, and the movement showed that the buyer wasn't very strong. But how can it be strong? We just recently set this minimum. The pullback was up, but they didn't let it go, and we're heading down again trying to update the minimum. But basically, it's already been updated according to the trend. So everything makes sense. That's the deal. Here's what happened next. Here's an interesting dilemma. I'm immediately placing a cross here, and I understand that there has already been a removal of this minimum, an attempt by the seller to do something. For now, the buyer is imposing resistance, and logically, you can see that the maximum has been reached. The movement is down, they took that liquidity, and now there's movement up again, updating the maximum. Then back down again, and we're not letting the seller in anymore. When the minimum is updated, the buyer shows a very good upward movement. For what purpose? For the purpose of surpassing its previous maximum to continue its trend. To be sure, you need to look at the higher time frames to see where that maximum is and whether it makes sense to go higher at all. Here we have a very tasty sideways range for the next 4, where a lot of liquidity could likely be accumulated. It's in this range, so the overall sense is that we can go higher on the 4-hour chart. We can notice that the seller rarely slips through, but he's still there. Right now, the reaction was up to the nearest maximum, where something might happen, and that will be right here. From here, we saw the movement from 3 out of 4 of the 4-hour candles, so there is a distance present. I'll open this for 4 minutes, entering for an upward movement. I'll return to the 15-minute chart. Basically, the distance is very large. There's nothing more to look at here. That's why we're expecting it. There are 5 seconds left until the end, and this is a very confident movement, which is a plus. Here it is. The movement up continued. The situation played out as expected. Let me look for the next one. Look, I found a highly volatile pair against a medium volatile pair. This is a medium volatile pair. Look, I'm switching to a highly volatile one. So did you remember the chart? Look. Do you see how big the difference is? The candles are quite large and they are positioned close to each other. And they have very huge pullbacks. This is also a very volatile pair. 1, 2. Move, bam, calm yourself down. The price is moving. Bam, calm yourself even more. The price is leading. You can enter at this point. I wouldn't enter at this point. So for now, the situation at least looks like it's going up. I'll look for more. Here's an interesting point, but it's also about the continuation of the movement. I will probably have to enter. 2 minutes until the candle closes. So let's go for 4 minutes accompanied and on. Well, I'm not saying that it's just going to take off and go into this area right now. No, of course not right now. There could be a pullback. Maybe the candle going down could be a sideways movement, just based on the logic of the movement. Overall, I understand that I have a very strong movement against a very weak seller. And the nearest place where there might be some liquidity is way up there. We're making such a good movement, breaking through absolutely all the highs in our path. It's logically clear that we're heading somewhere up there. That's the highest part. I don't know what's so difficult about this, really, nothing. The question is, will you catch this movement? So, there are 10 seconds left. From 250, we're slowly turning into 100. A sideways movement is starting to happen. And this movement is happening confidently and quickly. 91. Alright, fine. Plus, I took it. It's unclear where the pullback movement is coming from. The middle of the impulse is clear. But it's unlikely that we were dragging it here just to bounce off the middle of the impulse. That's illogical. By the way, I've stopped paying attention to them. Very often, reactions happen from them. But again, I can't just take an impulsive candle. So, in order to be sure that a pullback movement can happen from the middle of a big candle's impulse, you need to confirm it with volume. Then yes, I can say that there was liquidity in this candle. It wasn't empty, and it makes sense to come there, close it, and a pullback movement might happen from there. Well, I'll try to find another situation, and I'll be back. I think I'll try to find a pullback movement because everything is just about continuation. That's how it always goes for me on OTC. As I enter, I don't see any good places to take a pullback movement. Can you believe it? I missed it. Generally all. I didn't find it. So the closest thing I found is this little moment. There were a lot of attempts in this situation to go down. Everywhere, the buyer was buying up. After that, we bought back and shot up nicely. That is, when you touch it, you can try to catch a pullback movement from here. All right, let me mark this down. It's very inconvenient to mark on UTC like this. Of course, ideally, if we're being picky, I would take the first move from somewhere in the middle. It would be more correct if it goes here for you. From here, you can take a follow-up after the minimum is taken out. Most likely after that, there will be a pullback movement. Right now, going in, well, we understand that we have a downward trend here. In this situation, the angle changes quite a bit. Yes, so the seller is strong, and it's unlikely that he's going to bounce away from this area. That's right, he's interested, updating the main lows. So, entering on a pullback against a strong seller. Only because there was something like accumulation here. There might be, and there should be, some buyer here, but you need to wait for the entry point. You see, they pull back earlier. That's also an interesting point. So, because of this strong buyback, you can actually raise the area, like this, based on the body. This is a very large area, so it turns out. So, I'll keep clicking through. Maybe something will happen. Quickly, I'll try to jump in, and I'll explain why the dot stick. Damn, OTC. Let's see. There was a stop. I don't know how to show it correctly. This thing is in the way. I'm like this. The minimum of the candle. So let's draw it. Starting from this stop, meaning we came in, updated the minimums, after which the buyer showed up, made a move upwards. But in this area, they don't let him go up. We're starting to go back with the trend, movement down. So logically, we immediately understand that we're going down, not bouncing away from the same point again. We're continuing with the trend, updating our minimum and dragging the trend further down. This minimum has already been updated. Right now, we're updating this recently made low, and we see some resistance from the buyer. Similarly, we can assume that it will be small since it was just recently, and there hasn't been much liquidity built up here. The next stop, is quite close to us. The stop isn't very significant. There was a small movement from it, and there was a red candle, meaning the price didn't really shoot up. Always. There was a correction. But I want to try to catch a pullback movement in this situation because look, the next place where something might appear is right here. So, a very long impulsive movement. It's unlikely that the seller will just fly down here calmly, meaning there will be some corrections happening here. One of the options where you might appear before such a sharp drop is where the buyer is located. So, at this stop, we're going to try to catch a pullback movement. For now, we need to do something. I didn't find anything else. So this isn't what I wanted. This stop before that. Not this one, I would say, but I would consider this stop. We hung out here for a while, after which we walked around for a long time. Right now, the first approach happened here. There's a spare. If we pass through, we have a spare right next to us, another one. This was very good here. Pullback movement. That would be awesome. But I missed everything twice. Absolutely. All the stocks, crypto, funds, there's nothing at all. So let's focus on this situation. Let's say creating unnecessary hassle for myself and trying to close it, yet by some at a higher price. Ideally, of course, you want to take the pullback movement where, as I said, somewhere in the middle of this level, closer to the lows. Because after breaking the low, the most likely place where a buyer might appear who can make a pullback movement. So, here I have to use a catch-up. We're already approaching the level. It's about to touch it now. The candle will close. Most likely the candle will close as a solid one. We're waiting for now. So, here we go. The next candle is going down again, and I will need to use... I think we're going to take... Yes, we will take 4 minutes as well. After breaking this minimum, it's going up for the year. Actually, it's the second chase already. You see, it's a similar situation. The pullback movement happened. You can't time it perfectly. So again, I would have taken 2 minutes and I would have closed it with a profit easily. It's all clear. It's all understandable. You can never pick the perfect time, especially on OTC. Whoa, come on, bring it here. No, 5 seconds. You won't accidentally give it away, will you? No, it won't give it away. Did the pullback happen? It happened after breaking the minimum. Oh dear. So there's a logical movement on this pair for OTC. All right, let's go back. So the question is, will you catch this movement? Only in this matter, since you have limited time. There's still 35 seconds left. Let's hope that there's at least a somewhat decent buyer here who won't end up giving away the candle and won't close it in red. In my case, probably pink. Come on, 20 seconds. There are 4 seconds left until the end. Plus, I took another one. With that, I'm going to wrap up this video. So that's how my trading session went for OTC. It seems pretty good, and I would say it's not even nerve-wracking compared to the mess that's happening right now in the real market. But if you found it interesting, leave a comment, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel. And now, alright, goodbye.